LV55 Media LLC presents the Heroes of Montford Point Mobile Landing Platform Ceremony, Part 2, featuring Master of Ceremonies Jim Gill and President of General Dynamics NASSCO, Fred Harris.
Next is our Matron of Honor and daughter-in-law of Mrs. Bolden and her husband, the Honorable Charles Bolden, Mrs. Penny Bolden. Next is the daughter of Honorable and Mrs. Charles Bolden, Maid of Honor, Dr. Kelly M. Bolden. And lastly, the prospective First Master of MLP-1, Captain Kirk N. Kleinschmidt, United States Merchant Marine. We also have other distinguished friends and guests of NASSCO in the audience this morning that I would like to take a few moments to recognize. For all of our distinguished guests, would each of you, when I call your name, please stand to be recognized. First, I'm pleased to introduce the husband of our sponsor, Marine Corps Major General and NASA Administrator, the Honorable Charles F. Bolden, Jr. Next, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished guests from General Dynamics. First, Sir Robert Walmsley, member of the Board of Directors, General Dynamics Corporation. Next, General Dynamics Executive Vice President, Marine Group, our boss, Mr. John Casey. From the Society of Ship Sponsors, Ms. Rosalie Calhoun.
Thank you, Jim, and good morning. I'd like to begin by recognizing our sponsor, Mrs. Alexis Jackie Bolden, her maid of honor and daughter, Kelly Michelle Bolden, and her matron of honor and daughter-in-law, Penny Bolden. Also, Congresswoman Susan Davis, Congressman Scott Peters, Congressman Juan Vargas, General James Amos, Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, Vice Admiral Philip Cullum, representing the Chief of Naval Operations, Rear Admiral Mark Busby, Commander, Military Sealift Command, Rear Admiral David Lewis, Program Executive Officer for Ships, the President of the Montford Point Marine Association, Mr. James Everhart, guests and friends of General Dynamics, NASSCO, fellow NASSCO employees, I'm pleased to welcome each of you to the christening of the USNS Montford Point, the first of the MLP class of ships built by NASSCO for the United States Navy. This is an exciting day for the NASSCO Navy industry team, as MLP-1 joins a distinguished tradition of NASSCO-built or modified ships directly supporting the U.S. Navy or Marine Corps. We at NASSCO are proud of the role the USNS Montford Point will play in supporting U.S. defense operations. I am particularly happy to see that 35 Montford Point Marines joined us. These Marines, but a handful here today, embody the leadership, capability, courage of the 20,000 African-American men who received their basic training at Montford Point between 1942 and 1949. One of the most notable graduates and one of the first African Americans to be trained as a drill instructor was Sergeant Major Gilbert Hashmark Johnson. Sergeant Major Johnson served in the Army and the Navy before becoming one of the first African Americans to enlist in the Marine Corps. He was the first to request and receive approval for African Americans to serve in combat. While serving on Guam in World War II, he personally led 25 combat patrol missions. Sergeant Johnson was a distinguished veteran of World War II and the Korean War. In 1974, Montford Point was renamed to Captain Johnson in his honor. Another notable alumni of Montford Point was Captain Frederick C. Branch, the first African-American officer in the United States Marine Corps. His application to Officer Candidate School was originally denied, but Captain Branch so impressed his commanding officer, while stationed with a support unit in the South Pacific, that his CO again recommended him for officer training, personally lobbying for him in Washington on his behalf. Captain Branch graduated as the only black student in a class of 250 and became the first African American commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. These Marines are but a few of the thousands of Montford Point graduates who served their country admirably and with distinction. In recognition of their strength and bravery, Congress voted last year to award the Congressional Gold Medal to the Montford Point Marines. Congratulations. Vernon Baker, an African-American veteran who received the Congressional Medal of Honor in World War II, stated that black soldiers fought a war on two sides. Montford Point graduates fought both the enemy and racism and were pioneers. It is especially appropriate that MLP-1 bears the name Montford Point, as it is the first of a new and innovative class of ships never before produced for the U.S. Navy. Once in service, she will be an integral part of the Navy Marine Corps sea basing strategy. The Navy today is making rapid changes in its force to accommodate new defense strategies like sea basing. Any new strategy, however, must be integrated into a financially constrained acquisition environment. The Navy originally envisioned the MLP program to be a 3-ship program, with each ship costing from $1 to $1.5 billion. Its mission then and now is to house Marines and deploy LCATs loaded with roll-on, roll-off equipment and many other functions. NASSCO was the sole winner of the design competition in February of 2009. However, support for the multi-billion-dollar platform was evaporating by mid-year. The Navy eliminated the original program from its budget in the fall of 2009. NASSCO engineers scrambled to come up with a viable, low-cost alternative. Working hand in hand with the government over the next few months, we were able to modify the design of a British petroleum tanker that NASSCO had designed and built a few years previous. NASSCO was then able to offer the Navy a concept design that would provide more than 80% of the original MLP capability at a third the cost. With 100% of the design done and production planning complete, and all of the material available to support starter construction, MLP-1 is on track to be delivered on budget or under and ahead of schedule. Thanks to the efforts of the Navy and NASSCO team, the MLP class provides a model for success for other shipbuilding programs. Given the current budget constraints, I believe that industry and the Navy must continue to work hand in hand to seek low-cost alternatives. Multi-purpose ships like MLP must be the standard rather than the exception. As partners, there are actions we can take, and I would mention just a few. First, we can establish as a nation a build plan and that requires minimal change from year to year. We can require ships to be designed and built to cost rather than unconstrained requirements. We can allow the use of economic order quantity funding to reduce material pricing and stabilize the U.S. vendor base. And finally, we can foster a culture of excellence among shipbuilders by rewarding good performance and holding poor performers accountable. Implementation of these recommendations would encourage timely shipyard investment, which in turn would yield greater efficiency, increased productivity with improved deliveries. George Friedman explained the necessity of a strong Navy in his 2009 book, The Next 100 Years, a Forecast for the 21st Century. Friedman said that the United States controls all of the oceans, and that control is not only the foundation of American security, but also the foundation of its ability to shape international systems. Maintaining its control of the world's ocean is the single most important goal for the United States geopolitically. I believe that with determination from both government and industry, the United States will continue to rule the waves. I'd now like to recognize 4 outstanding members of the NASSCO team who contributed to the successful build of MLP-1. David Grippon, Devin Dawson, Raul Salazar, and Jeff Hunt. David Grippon, a rigging and stage of construction 6. David and his fellow riggers provided a critical service that our skilled onboard tradespeople depend upon, getting material, tools, compressed air, power and gas services loaded each and every day on and off the ship. Since the MLP keel was laid, David participated in over 5,000 load lifts, including during significantly busy times like undocking, inclined experiments, and finally preparation for sea trials. David and his team contributed, along with other trades, to saving more than 7,000 man-hours against budget. David, would you please stand? I'd like to recognize you. I would also like to recognize Devin Dawson, a metal outfitting working foreman in stage of construction 5. Devin continually seeks ways to improve quality and reduce the cost to install and test metal outfitting products. As a result of his team's effort, stage of construction 5 has seen a 3.6% cost reduction against budget, resulting in the savings of about 2,500 man-hours. Devin, would you please stand? And I'd like to thank you. I would also like to recognize Raul Salazar, who works as a test technician in our quality department. Raul and his team incorporated non-destructive testing technology in our construction process that allowed both tank testing and paint completion to be done off-hull in a relatively inexpensive area as compared to on-hull. Raul and his team tested over 2,000 outfitting welds in 49 of MLP saltwater tank boundaries, resulting in a significant improvement in quality, a reduction in rework, and substantial cost savings. Raul, would you please stand and be recognized?
This event was recorded live on March 2nd, 2013 at the General Dynamics NASSCO Shipyard, San Diego, California.